Welcome to what I have called an intro to affirmations. My desire to share this with you today really was sparked last week as I sat down and I was doing some deep affirmation work within myself, and I was able to do it quite quickly. I was able to have some turnarounds within myself, come up with some really powerful affirmations that were going to frame the way that I was seeing myself and experiencing myself. And I just had this moment that I thought, I'm so grateful that I took the time to understand this, and that I have been gifted with teachers, guides, mentors that have simplified this or just shared it in a way that really landed for me. And as I thought that, I thought it is now my duty, my obligation, my desire to be able to share my perspective with the women that find themselves within my space. So when it comes to any of this work, what I'm communicating with you is that of my perspective. I disassociate from a sense of academic or scholarly pursuit. I'm not trying to give you the most highly researched, accredited definition of all of this. I'm sharing from heart space today. I'm offering up my perspective, and I'm asking you to suspend the belief that we have to come into something like this and look for how we can logically comprehend what is being taught to us so that we can receive it correctly and do the right thing. For a lot of us, that's how we have been educated. That's the model we have been groomed for. Come in, concentrate, learn, retain, regurgitate. And I just want you to suspend that way of learning in this experience today and just see if you can open yourself up to allowing your body to do the listening. And you may have no idea what the hell I just said. You might be thinking, what does that even mean? And if that's you, if that's the case, if you don't know what it means to suspend logic and your rational mind and to just feel into something, I just ask that you be open to not wondering, am I getting this right? Have I written the right things down? Am I asking an intelligent question? And to just feel into what it is like to be welcomed into a space with your best interests at heart, with some information that could potentially land for you in a way that is planting a seed for your growth. This isn't something that is going to be A plus B equals C. There's no exam at the end of this. There's nothing to get right. Just acknowledge that you have come into this space, into this opportunity, because it is meant for you. You don't need to know how or why or what is going to come of this. Just be open and available for what is about to unfold for you. And live with the belief that this could have been created specifically for you. You matter that much. You are that necessary. What I'm about to share, and potentially everything that I have learned up until this point to deliver this to you today, could be specifically for you. Allow yourself to feel what it is like to be the center of your own universe in that way, and to know that everything that you are receiving is being brought to you because of what you have been putting out. So I welcome you to this. I welcome you to this because it is created from heart space and my love and my desire to just be in conversation with women about things that will feel deeply supportive and things that will help them be empowered within their lives to remember just how much they matter, just how necessary they are, so that they go and move through their lives powerfully and create and cause in the way that only they can. So I welcome you. Let's dive in. So, as this is an express workshop, guys, I'm just going to jump straight in. And because you've registered for something, that is about affirmations, I'm going to assume you kind of have some sort of understanding about what this might be about and what you can expect to learn. Okay? So let's go. Let's just go. I talk at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I want you to strap yourself in, lean in, and we will move through this at lightning speed, but I'm trusting that you can keep up. So the power of affirmations is something that I love being able to teach or to remind women who might have forgotten. Okay, we as individuals, as humans, have an incredible power to begin creating a joyous, fulfilling life. And, there are so many things out there. Our market is saturated at the moment with tools and resources and guides and specific things that you should be able to buy or download, right? That tell you that this is the thing that will be able to support you in being able to live your best life. It's really important for you to remember that you actually have every tool that you will ever need within yourself. There's no one thing that you're going to read or buy or download or come across that is ever going to be powerful in the way that your own thoughts and your own beliefs and your own feelings can be over your life. Okay, so the work around uncovering your own thoughts and beliefs and understanding how we can actually orient our minds and our hearts to improve the quality of our lives, I think, is our life's work. I think for all of us, it's one thing that we have in common to really understand, to get curious about again, to explore, to sharpen the edge that we have to orient our minds and our hearts to the things that actually activate the parts of us that remember and know what it means to be a person living a joy-filled and fulfilled life. So what is an affirmation? An affirmation is really anything that you say or think. Literally, anything that you say or think is an affirmation. Now, you might have been convinced or misguided that affirmations are these nice little cards that you can buy from somewhere. And they're these specific statements, and that's all affirmations are. And that's not true. An affirmation, I'm going to say it again because it's a very important distinction to allow to land and to understand. An affirmation is anything that you say or think. And what we need to be aware of is that a lot of what we say or think is quite negative, and it does not create good experiences for us. And so we have to retrain our thinking and speaking into positive patterns if we want to change our lives. There's no way around it. This is something that we have to devote ourselves to daily. What an affirmation does is it opens the door for us. It allows us to see ourselves and the world and whatever we are experiencing through a new lens, and hopefully one that we like the look of. Okay, this is something that I learned from Louise Hay. She taught specifically, not just to me, but she specifically taught, is a better way to say that an affirmation isn't just this statement. It's not hocus pocus. It's not even an incantation or like a magic spell. It's just something that we say, something that we think, something that we breathe life into that opens the door for us to the joy-filled and fulfilling life that we desire for ourselves, okay? An affirmation is just the beginning point on the path to change. And this is the problem that I see. So many women are thinking that just standing and saying or writing their affirmations is job done. And what you need to understand is that affirmation is just your beginning point. It's just opening the door. So in essence, okay, when we are saying an affirmation, all we are doing is retraining ourselves and saying to our subconscious mind that there is something I can do to change. What I'm experiencing right now is not all that is available to me, and I'm standing in my power, and I know that in this moment there is something that I can do to experience change. And the affirmation is the description of that, and it opens the door for us. A question that I get from a lot of women all the time, and I think it's a very fair question, is what does it actually mean to do affirmations? Women will say to me, how do I do it right? What does it look like? Like there would be a step-by-step guide for affirmations. And I mean, in any of the inner work that we do, the most important thing is that we can fast track our understanding and leverage other people's experience. But ultimately, we have to make every single practice our own. Okay? But in my experience and what I have learned and what works for me is that when I'm talking about doing affirmations, what I mean is we are consciously choosing words that will either help eliminate something from our lives or help us create something new into our lives. Okay. And I've written this again because it's such an important distinction and understanding and potentially a breakthrough for a lot of people. We are using affirmations every single moment, whether you know it or not. Right now, you have decided the power of this express workshop I'm delivering. If you are thinking, saying, believing, this is great, I'm really getting something out of this, that is what you will experience. The opposite could also be true. It depends what you are affirming for yourself. We are doing this all the time in every way. It's so important for us to become aware of that, because we then realize how important it is to wake up, to become conscious, and to lead our lives through the choices we make. Every thought you think and every word you speak is an affirmation. All of our self-talk, all of our inner dialogue, it's just a stream of affirmations, right? You are affirming and creating your life experiences with every word and thought. And so our beliefs, what we decide feels true, are mostly habitual thinking patterns, right? What we have decided is true for us is just the thoughts that we have had on repeat so often, that we've heard so many times, that we just accept them as truth. Many of them work really well for us. And this is something that I explore in many of my group programs, where our beliefs come from, the streams of consciousness that exist and the thought forms that we are creating that keep those beliefs active. Many of them work well for us. But other beliefs may be limiting our ability to create the very things that we say that we want. So for anybody that has a vision for themselves or sets a goal for themselves or has a desire and they just can't seem to create that within their lives, there's something that seems to get in their way. Usually it's a combination of things, but one of the big things is their own beliefs. And our beliefs are created by our thought forms. And affirmations are a great way to take control of the thought forms that are guiding us and dictating the beliefs that are shaping our experience in life. Are you catching this? Yeah? Are you getting it? I hope so. Okay. For most people, it's a shocking thing to realize that what you want and what you actually believe you deserve may be very different. And so we need to pay attention to our thoughts to eliminate the specific ones creating experiences that we do not want in our lives. Every complaint is an affirmation of something that you think you don't want in your life. By simply complaining about something, we are breathing more life into it. We are giving it more power. We are affirming its existence. Every time you get angry, excuse me, guys, I've got a cough. Every time that you get angry, you are simply affirming that you want more anger in your life. Every time you feel like a victim, you are affirming that you want to continue feeling like a victim. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get a good cough out of the way. Oh, goodness me. All right. Before I move on to this, I think it's an important thing to realize that what I'm saying here is actually really powerful. And I shared just before on my Instagram that I really realized the power of affirmations through the process of my divorce from my first husband. And I realized as I moved through that divorce, what I was saying about him and the relationship didn't leave any room for positive experience or reconciliation or even healing or forgiveness. Everything that I was saying about him and the relationship was just propelling me forward with a sense of anger and certainty and clarity about what I had to do. And I can look back and say that served me. The process of kind of vacating one life and creating a new life was overwhelming. And I felt that I needed that fire within me to keep moving forward. And so affirming the negative actually supported me. Right. And so it's important to know that the use of affirmations isn't just about like finding the thing that sounds lovely It's finding the thought that serves you in the moment, but having full awareness that when you are experiencing something that is uncomfortable or something that you don't actually, enjoy the experience of, you are choosing that for yourself. And we have to ask ourselves, why am I choosing this? Is it serving me in some way? If it is, we can allow the experience of that to continue to exist. If we don't choose that for ourselves and it is not what we want, we get to choose something more, something different. And the end of that story becomes that I was actually able to have deep healing with my first husband when we both got through the process of the divorce and there was some time separated from each other. And we were able to come back, and through creating new thought forms around who he was and what that relationship had been, and even what divorce had afforded me in the end, I was able to experience him and our relationship in a way that held space for forgiveness and empathy and love and healing. Nothing had actually changed apart from what I was saying, what I was thinking, what I was affirming for myself. I hope this example helps you to see the ways that our affirmations are literally creating our experiences, our opportunities, what is possible for us. And we have to take full accountability for everything that we are experiencing, whether we're moving through our lives with effortless ease or whether everything feels like an uphill battle, and realize that every single time it comes down to what we are affirming the existence of within us, around us, for us. We are that powerful. Some people will say affirmations don't work. They don't work. And that in itself is an affirmation. Can you see that? If you're a person that thinks this is stupid, they don't work, you're affirming that. You're deciding that. Right? So if somebody is saying affirmations don't work, it's usually because they haven't been guided in using them correctly. So they might say an affirmation in the morning like, my prosperity is growing, but they're thinking as they're doing it, God, this is stupid and it's pointless and I know this won't work. Two affirmations coexisting at the same time. One might be spoken, one might be thought. They still exist at the same time. And which one do you think will win? I know you know this. No points for this. It's obvious. The negative one. Because usually it reflects a longer standing habitual way that somebody looks at life. Okay. Often, and I said this before, people will start the day positively. I'm saying that with air quotes. They'll start the day positively, doing their affirmations in the morning, and then they complain for the rest of the day. There are usually more negative affirmations in their life, and they're usually said with greater feeling and conviction. They're breathing life into that. Saying affirmations is only part of the process. Remember, I said it just opens the door. The way you walk through that door, what direction you move in, how you decide to proceed through the rest of the day is actually even more important. The affirmation is just your starting point for change. Abraham Hicks has so many beautiful descriptions of the way that affirmation works, the way that we can witness it, the way that we can feel it. And what I specifically took from her teachings that made a big difference in my understanding of how to activate affirmations was that the secret to having your affirmations work quickly, because they can and they should, is to prepare an atmosphere for them to grow in. So what does that mean? Let me explain. Okay, affirmations are like seeds planted in soil. Sorry, guys. You tell I've done a lot of talking this week. Talking and hay fever combined. It's fine. It's giving you a moment to kind of integrate. All right. Affirmations are like seeds planted in soil. If we plant seeds into poor soil, we get poor growth. We understand that. If we plant seeds into rich, healthy, fertilized soil, woo, abundant growth. Okay. So we can't just be saying affirmations, but have a mismanaged, unhealthy atmosphere within us So what do? Abraham Hicks would say, the more you choose to think thoughts that make you feel good, the quicker your affirmations will work. The way you choose to think right now is just that, it's a choice. And in any moment, you can and you should absolutely choose to change your thinking if it is not serving you, if it doesn't feel good. We make this a practice. We make this a standard that we hold ourselves to. And we require ourselves, anytime we notice a thought form that doesn't feel good, we choose to think, to lean in, to breathe life into something that would feel better for us. If you exercise, if you go to the gym, this is something that you can experience quite easily. If you're in the middle of the workout and it's physically challenging you, which it probably does every single time, and you're sweating and your muscles are giving you feedback that they're working hard, maybe you're a little bit out of breath, you get the choice in that moment to create thought forms that will either encourage you or demotivate you. If you begin to affirm the fact, this is hard, this is bullshit, I'm so unfit, I hate this, you create a very different experience for yourself than if your thought forms create a sense of encouragement. Wow, this is challenging. Look how well I'm doing. I can do this just a little bit more. I want this for myself. Whatever it is that you need to tell yourself that would feel better than this is bullshit. Right? I think we understand this. The thing is, we have to consciously be aware of the way we're moving through the day and what we are choosing to think, to feel, to believe in every interaction that we have. Sounds exhausting? You're doing it anyway. You are making conscious choices and thought forms about what you are experiencing anyway. And if it is not serving you to create those thought forms, to be stuck in the habit loops that you are in the way that you think, feel, react, respond, then change is necessary. And it is something that you have to devote yourself to. And when you do this, your life will not turn around overnight. You're not going to wake up and suddenly feel like, I just moved through my day with a sense of grace and prosperity and abundance. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you are consistent, and you allow yourself to make a million mistakes and you just rectify yourself in the moment and reach for something that feels better, and you make the choice on a daily basis to think thoughts that make you feel good, no matter what is happening, you'll definitely make positive changes in every area of your life, without a doubt. I personally, truly wake up each morning with blessings and gratitude for the wonderful, wonderful life I lead. And I make the conscious choice to think happy thoughts no matter what others around me are doing. I don't do this 100% of the time, but because I've applied myself, because I've devoted myself to this, I would say I'm up to about 85 to 90% of the time. And it's made a big difference in how much I enjoy life and how much good just seems to flow into my world every day. There are opportunities presenting themselves to me every day, because of the way that I communicate, because of the way that I think, because of the way that I see myself and the world. And this has been a conscious choice that I've made and that I have actively devoted myself to, not for a week, not for a month, years, year upon year upon year. That shouldn't be off-putting to you. That should just offer you the understanding that this is not something that we can just fix within ourselves immediately. We can activate the change immediately. But to be in a place and a space where 85 to 90% of the time I'm thinking and believing things that actually make me feel good, that should be motivation for you to understand that we can actually actively choose this for ourselves. Because I can tell you, probably 6 years ago, I went through a time in my life that I would say maybe 10% of the time I could come up with something that would make me feel good. And usually that was good. I can go to bed now. The day's over. So I've been high and I've been super, super low. And I suppose sharing this work is important to me because at the time that I was super low, I couldn't imagine a day that didn't feel dark, that didn't put me in a depressed state, that didn't leave me feeling depleted and drained. And to experience a complete change of trajectory and even like a complete different personality that has emerged from within me simply because I devoted myself to the inner work of creating the thought forms that would support the life that I wanted to experience. It's profound. And so it's important for me to share this because it is powerful and it works. So let's do a very quick check-in. Ask yourself, how do you feel right now? Do you feel good? Do you feel flat? What are your current emotions? What's your gut feeling? Would you like to feel better? So many of us aren't in the habit of being in conversation with ourselves. And when we are in conversation with ourselves consistently, and we can answer these questions consistently, honestly, openly, when we develop the vocabulary within ourselves to communicate what we are experiencing, then we give ourselves the opportunity to reach for a better feeling thought if we need to. If you feel bad in any way, sad, grumpy, bitter, resentful, jealous, guilty, critical, what has happened is that you have temporarily lost your connection to the flow of good experiences that the universe has waiting for you. We are not supposed to feel like we are struggling or suffering or that life is hard. It is not supposed to feel like that, and you don't have to feel like that. This is a reminder to not waste our thoughts on blame, because no person, no place, or thing has any control over your feelings because they don't think in your mind. And this is why you have no control over others. You can't control their thoughts. You can take total control only over your own thinking. And what you choose to think is what you will get in life. I've chosen for myself to think thoughts of joy and gratitude, and you can choose that for yourself too. What kind of thoughts make you feel good? You know, some of us have been conditioned or coerced to think thoughts that motivate us in a way that doesn't feel good. If we're a person that leverages pressure, competition, a sense of hustle and grind to get us to do the things that we desire, it doesn't feel good. We're not going to have a good experience of ourselves and the world, and it impacts everything about who we are and how we move through the world and what we are attracting and repelling with our own energy. When we can work out how to exist, manifest what we desire, and have all that we want through the thought forms that feel good for us, it becomes an act of ultimate self-love. Ultimate self-love. When you've created an internal atmosphere that is so rich, so prosperous, so abundant, so joy-filled that when you plant seeds of affirmation, there is a sense of just belief and overflow that you create whatever it is that you desire, and you feel like you have become a magnet for all that is meant for you. That is the ultimate form of self-love. To learn how to do that for yourself and to devote yourself to being that way and to give yourself the experience of life in that way, that is self-love. Don't worry about your bubble bath. Save your manicure for another day. This is where it's at. Loving yourself like that creates miracles within your life. So once again, let me remind you, doing affirmations is consciously choosing to think certain thoughts that will create positive results in the future. They create a focal point that will allow you to begin changing in your thinking. Louise Hay has a beautiful statement that I think is profound and powerful. She says, affirmative statements are going beyond the reality of the present into the creation of the future through the words you use in the now. That speaks to me. Affirmative statements are going beyond the reality of the present. So we're not confined or limited to what we are experiencing right now or what has been available to us or what we have thought, into the creation of the future through the words that we are using right now. We can use affirmations to create a new reality for ourselves now. And we don't have to have any evidence, any proof, any inkling that that is even going to happen for us to say it with conviction and clarity and certainty and feel into its existence. So an example could be, you might choose to be saying every day, I have a wonderful lover and we are both happy and we are at peace and it's just juicy and amazing and this soulful connection. But you might actually be single when you're saying that. But what you are doing is you're planting seeds for your future intimate relationship. You're breathing life into the belief of that. You're speaking that into existence. You're making space for that. Each time you repeat a statement like that, you are reaffirming the seeds that you have planted in the atmosphere of your mind. This thing exists for me. It's coming to me. That's why we want our minds to be a happy atmosphere, because things grow more quickly in rich soil. If you are a person that's anxious or depressed or angry, if you were to go ahead and say an affirmation like that, your mind would go, no, that's not available. That's not possible. But if you are a person that is conditioning themselves to see potential, possibility, love, grace, opportunity, and your internal atmosphere is one created by feeling good and having good feeling thought forms, then when you say an affirmation like that, that has the audacity to breathe life into something that you have no evidence of yet, it lands differently. It's implanted in you differently. It reaches that rich soil, the availability to believe that that could happen for you and that will happen for you, and it is already on its way. So when we use affirmations, we always need to speak or write in present tense. A typical affirmation starts with I am or I have. We don't want to say I'm going to or I will have, because then our thoughts stay out there in the future. We're like, it's not happening today. So there's a part of us that doesn't think we have to actively do anything to move in that direction or be a certain way for that to happen. The universe takes our thoughts and our words very literally, and it gives you what you want always. You have to have the confidence, the audacity, the conviction to say, this is as it is because I declare it so. And know that you have the power to do that, and know that the universe responds favorably to us when we do that. This is the reason to maintain a happy mental atmosphere. It's easier to think and to believe and to breathe life into positive affirmations when we're feeling good. We hear people say things all the time like, life's a bitch. Life's a bitch. We've heard that a lot lately. And it's a very unhelpful affirmation. I'm sure they're not writing it on a card and reading it into a mirror every morning, but they're saying that, they're affirming that for themselves. And so can you imagine what experience that statement will attract to somebody that is saying that? Okay. And of course, it isn't that life's a bitch. Life doesn't suck. It's usually our thinking that sucks. That thought, a thought like that will support someone in feeling terrible. And when you feel terrible, you actually aren't available for the good. So this is a gentle reminder. I say my gentle nudges feel like this. Don't waste time arguing for your limitations, poor relationships, problems, illnesses. The more you talk about the problem, the more you anchor it in its place. Don't blame others for what's seemingly wrong in your life. That's just a waste of your time and your energy. If nothing else, if you can remember each day that who you are and what you are experiencing in this life is dictated only by the laws of your own consciousness, your own thoughts, and that you are attracting specific experiences to you as a result of the way that you think. Every spiritual leader I have had the opportunity to be in close proximity to has explained that, has taught that as the underlying principle to everything else. Until we allow that to land in our bodies, to accept it as the truth that it is, to take accountability for that, and to live with a sense of deep understanding, acknowledgement, and respect for that, nothing changes for us. But once you decide to be a person who is moving through life understanding that everything we are experiencing is a result of the specific experiences we have attracted. Once you take that on for yourself, once you move through life in that way, it's not like you become magic in what you can experience. You actually just become awake and aware and begin to consciously create the thought forms that are creating the reality that you are experiencing. Until then, while you still want to blame, while you still want to, hold up the victim card when it's convenient, while you still want to wait for everybody else's input and opinions and advice, you are giving your power away. You step fully into your power the day that you claim for yourself that you are the highest authority in your own existence. And when we do that, we make sure that we consciously turn our negative affirmations into positive ones. And this doesn't mean that you have to be worried about every thought that you think, right? We have too many thoughts in a day to catch all of them. And I'm sure right now there are some of you that are pretty horrified because you understand that, oh my God, if I tuned into my own thinking, I will realize how unhelpful a lot of my thinking actually is. Okay, this isn't about judging or shaming or criticizing the way that we think. It's just about devoting ourselves to this practice. When we notice or witness a negative thought, we just think to ourselves, that's an old thought. I no longer choose to think that way. And we find a positive thought to replace it as quickly as we can. Because remember, we want to feel as much good in our lives as possible. Affirmations are the solutions that will replace whatever problem you have. Nothing actually has to change for us to feel differently, for us to take a new perspective, a wider perspective, to see things in a new way, and for a solution to become available to us. And that in itself is a miracle. This Louise Hay affirmation is probably one of my favorites. It's one that I share with most women that I work with because I think it can be applied to many contexts at many times. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. It's a beautiful affirmation. It's powerful, but only if you feel into the truth of it. And only if you allow it to be the open door through which you walk through. And only if your thought forms after that are created with the same intention and energy and alignment. These affirmations serve us really well as we move through the day when we find ourselves spiraling or consecutively having these negative thoughts that are just moving us further and further away from the experience we want in life. We come back to the affirmation that we've chosen ourselves as the open door again. And we begin again from that place. It's like an anchor that brings us back to what we choose for ourselves, what we know to be true, and we begin again. And the beautiful thing is we are allowed to begin 1,000,000 times or more in a day. We can begin again and again and again. And an affirmation is that beautiful starting point for us to remind ourselves what we choose for ourselves. So that brings us to the end of this introduction to affirmation workshop. And I hope for most of you, this has just been an opportunity for you to remember what you already know to be true for yourself. We need to remain in conversation about this, to be reminded, to reflect, to re-engage the parts of us that know this to be true. And if this was new for you today, I welcome you to this space, to this energy, to this awareness. And I want to offer to you that this is a process, this is a learning that slowly unfolds over time. But don't feel like you have to move tentatively into this space. You can dive right in and begin to explore this and take it on for yourself and see what happens. It is absolute magic like that. The last thing that I want to share for you guys is that for 24 hours after this presentation today, and once I send out the replays, I'm offering up the opportunity to work with me to get some clarity around affirmations that would work for you. I think the worst thing when we sit in these experiences is that we feel the intention to generate change or to try something for ourselves, and then we go back into the world and nothing actually changes. We get distracted by the next thing. And so I'm putting this on offer for anybody that wants to step in, say yes, lean into this. And it's a $99 offer, which is an incredible offer. 2 private sessions with me. We would do it over Zoom. You could activate affirmations in one or any area of your life. And I've given some suggestions for things that we could focus on. Or if you're not sure what area, I can help you get clarity on that. And in these 2 sessions, what we would do is get specific clarity of the area of your life that you want to make change, because sometimes the area that you think needs to change isn't the area that actually needs change. And to get really clear what you're calling in for yourself. And then I'll support you to create affirmations that would actually support your desires and activate your vision. And I could also offer you support around how to release the negative thought forms that are getting in your way. So if this is something that you are interested in, guys, you can just send me a private message and say, can we chat about whether this is the right opportunity for me? This is only going to be available for you to book in the next 24 hours. And then we can book these sessions right up until the end of the year. We can make that work for ourselves. So if this is something that interests you, or if affirmations are something that you kind of understand, but you haven't really experienced the power of, I would invite you into this opportunity for yourself, and we can fast track your activation so that you can take this on and experience the power of it for yourself. All right, let me stop recording.